Let's let it go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Good morning, top of the morning, sitting here in sunny California, shall I say cloudy California. Well, anyway, you're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live with nothing but straight talk. You know, that's how we do it around here. Nothing but straight talk. And my co-host, I have two co-hosts. I'm just blessed. Am I? Yes. My co-host, Mr. Keith Swanson, radio personality within his own rights. Mr. Keith is a radio personality within his own rights. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Dr. Rosie. How are you today?
Wonderful, and you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. A little overcast, but other than that, we're good.
We're good, good. We have our long lost other co-host who's been missing in action for 2 weeks, Miss Shawana Bordenay. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Having a great morning here.
Well,
yeah.
Well, it's good to have you back. We have a great show for you today. I have two wonderful guests that I will introduce in just a minute. But, you know, we have here in California, there's been so much talk about cannabis and just illness in general. And I think what made me want to do this show is because I have lost in the last 5 years, or maybe 7, 5 of my closest friends, and they have all left here with cancer. Keith, you knew most of them. And I have a friend now that's battling cancer. And it's just so much going on. And there's a lot of talk out here about cannabis. You know, there's shop on every corner. Some people believe the movement is political. Some people believe it doesn't help as far as health related. And there are so many people who don't know what to go. They're drowning in myth. And I think it's time that we bring some facts to the table, because when there's something that can help people but has a negative connotation, especially from the religious era, they really, you know, are having some issues about cannabis, even if people are saying with all the testimonies as to how they have been helped, how they have suffered in pain, and they still feel like, well, all you need to do is just pray. You don't need no cannabis. You just need to pray. Well, I know I get a lot of calls today from the Christians out there, but, you know, y'all got to know by now that Dr. Milligan really don't care about what you all think when she's trying to bring truth about, I love you, but it's time the truth come forward. So today we're going to talk about the myth and facts about cannabis, its impact when treating people with a chronic disease. And we're going to also talk about the reason body detoxification is the first step toward healing and reversing the disease process. If you paid attention, you probably too have lost many friends and relatives who have left here with cancer. But I'm here to tell you today that you should not let cancer or any chronic disease scare you to death. And I want to say that again. Don't let it scare you to death, because becoming proactive now can really minimize your effect of anything that you're going through it. And today we're going to be joined a little later today by Dr. Chang Ruan. I call it Ram. They can connect me to guests on the line. But he started Texas Center for Lifestyle Medicine, which focuses on integrative and functional medicine approach to reversal of chronic diseases. Can't wait to get him on the phone. We're going to be talking to him, and our guest is on the phone this morning. Very happy, who actually been in the health business for a long time, believe in holistic health, just believe in feeling good and being healthy, period, and taking charge of your life. That's Mr. John Taylor, and he's from Texas. Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
Good morning. How are you, Doc?
Wonderful. And you?
I'm doing great. Beautiful day here as well.
Okay, great. And we also have Mr. Kevin Suba. He's with us, who's been in the dealing with health products, health related for a long time. I've known him for a long time. Both of these are men of integrity. And I found out about them through a company called Prime My Body. And when I began to look at the product, people send me stuff all the time, and I said, oh, another product. But then when I looked at the background of the product and looked at the people that's behind it, from chemists to medical field, and since I know I'm in the health business, I know how important it is that we focus on healing ourselves. One of the reasons, because when you look at the money that's out of family pockets that could be passed as a legacy, medicine and its bills and being sick is driving people to bankruptcy. So I feel like if we can take better care of our health, if we get the knowledge that we need, it will make a big difference, especially when people are suffering from pain. Because I don't know if either of you have ever been in pain. I've been around people in pain. Their attitude change. They're just not pleasant to be around, and people don't understand that. Can you imagine being in constant nagging pain? And you think you're going to be pleasant all the time, that your mood is not going to change? Folks, it's not going to happen. So I'm really happy to have this dialogue. And I know Tawana is, and Keith is, is too, because we believe in health and new remedies and new ways to make people feel better and to live better. So, Mr. John Taylor, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit about the company and a little bit about how you all fit in with this. With the product. I know most people we talk about hemp, the product that the company has is hemp, but a lot of people don't know the difference. They're a little bit confused about hemp and cannabis. There's a lot of myths, so we're here today to dismiss some myths, and let's talk about some facts surrounding this topic. Which one do you want to start first?
I'll go first. Just listening to your open conversation. Just to let everybody know, we took the sin out of the bottle. So the sin is out. There's no psychoactive components to this. So you can take this. My Southern Baptist Sunday School teacher mother would, that's the line that I use to explain what this product does, because what it does, it gets into your body. We started the company as a plant-based approach to wellness. What you put in your body, what you put on your body matters. And that's what we started with. We started with a hemp protein superfood. Started with an amazing skincare line to go along with that. And 2016, we stuck our toe in the world of hemp, CBD, the oil, how this oil works in your body and what it does for your body. We've literally gone from zero to a company that's $6 million a month in sales. We are the fastest growing hemp company in the United States of America. And what I love about it, you're going to get a chance to listen to Dr. Chang Ruan here in a minute, and he's phenomenal. He'll be able to break this down. He comes from the perspective of his mother is an acupuncturist, his father, regular doctor, and he takes both of those two worlds together and does some amazing things. So he'll be able to talk about product in depth, but that bottle that we sell has a very special technology wrapped around it. So a lot of CBD oils or hemp oils that are out there, they're good products. They just don't get the absorption into your body. And what our hemp oil does is it gets into the cellular level. It's called nanoemulsification with a liposomal delivery. And small particles that get under your tongue works down into the body, attaching itself to the cell. And you get about 80 to 90% absorption of the product, which means, it's not just passing through your body. You're actually getting this. So, you do your research on it, go to pubmed.gov, do your homework online. There's so much information about what this product does and how it works. So we're excited to be in the hemp industry because we're watching people's lives change because we're getting rid of all the toxicity, getting rid of that inflammation, getting out of those places where disease lives.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you took the sin out, so maybe I can go to church Sunday. That's a good way to put it. You took the sin out. Kevin, what's your spin on it? Do we still have Kevin? Did we drop him?
Kevin?
Okay. I think we may have dropped. Kevin called in 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. Keith, I really think it's time that we, that we brought this subject up, and I can't wait for the doctor to come on because we've had so many testimonies of people who are actually using hemp product. Keith, do you remember years ago? I can't remember this lady. She had sickle cell. She used to always call in on front page.
Right.
Talking about hemp, and people were really kind of like scolding her, and this is not. And she said, "You all, this is the only thing that's been helping me," because she was fighting for the fact that it would become legal, that people would not be arresting her. I think she was trying to grow it. She said it was the only thing that helped her. And it's amazing how people way ahead of that time, she may have made her transition, but she was championing for a hemp product for a long time. You remember her, don't you? I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name, but I remember she used to call in all the time. And she did have sickle cell, and she fought like at least 3 or 4 court battles trying to get medical marijuana actually on the books, and eventually enough people got behind her and actually did. So I think she was one of the forerunners.
Yes, she was. I just can't remember her name. But it's so important. And go ahead. And I
apologize, Dr. Rosie. I went to hit the unmute button and I hung up instead. How about that technology?
Okay. Get to, you know what I tell people when they struggling with the phone? Go get your 3-year-old.
You're not lying. My grandson used to play with the phone of my ex, right? And she'd be asleep, and he'd have the phone. He couldn't unlock it, so he knew she had a fingerprint scanner. So he used to take the phone, walk up to it, and push her finger to the scanner, to the fingerprint reader to open the phone. And he was 2.
They are so smart.
I'm gonna tell you what, Dr. Rosie, at the top of the show, you said you came to bring the truth. That's the truth right there. Get the 3-year-old. For me, it's everything really that both of you said. I've known way too many people that have had health issues, and that was my passion for the industry in general, and specifically because myself and because everybody is busy. You always look for large impact products, large impact activity, and large high impact products. And, if you Google hemp oil, you start to see all the different things, the different applications, the different testimonies. Go to PubMed, as John Taylor said. But when you see that inside one bottle, over 200 different things can be done, people are busy. They really, at the core of who they are, they want to do better. We want to live better. We want to function better. We want to function at a high level. But it's those little things that creep into our life, that distract us, that keep us busy. Those are the things that cause us issues. Challenge, Dr. Rosie. Those So you can't focus to do the things that you need to do. And then you start to become stressed in a particular area of your life, either in relationships because you're not pouring into your relationships, or stretched financially because you're not focused financially, or stretched with respect to health and wellness. But you do those different things, and it causes challenges.
Yeah, pain is no joke. I don't know if 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 no joke. I don't know if
Okay. We tried to add a caller and there had a glitch. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, I was trying to unmerge and drop, and I just did something really strange.
Okay.
Again, where's the 3-year-old?
Where's the 3-year-old?
But
we'll continue.
But it's all those things, and it just makes a real bad cycle, Dr. Rosie. And then once you throw stress into the issue, you know, one of the main things, if you Google, you know, hemp oil and inflammation, that's just one of the main things you can look at. We know that inflammation is at the root of pretty much any bad health situation we can have. So we certainly can big picture talk about that, and then, well, how do we reverse that? Well, we look for the best anti-inflammatories.
Wow. You know, it's really interesting because I think about years Keith and Dick Gregory used to lecture with us, and all the great healers that came before us have put so much emphasis on the fact that we need to detoxify, we need to cleanse our body. Now, our forefathers, I know my grandmother, great-grandmother, they had not gone to medical school, didn't even know anything about what we're talking about today. But somehow they knew it was very important that we cleanse the body. That's why every year they would call deworming, whatever they would do, they would give you castor oil. Now, evidently, there must have been some spiritual connection, had to be God or the universe who were guiding these people and telling them what to do to maintain our health, because they didn't have books and stuff to read about it, Keith, but what they were doing is what we need. What they were doing is what we don't do today. We pile our body with all these medication. You take patient with cancer and most chronic disease, the medication that they put them on, number one, makes them constipated. That's one of the greatest side effects of pain medication is constipation. Yeah. When you're building all these toxins in your body and you're trapping them in because you can't even have a decent bowel elimination, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, the most wealthiest country, and we have all this knowledge, medical knowledge, and people just sick, man. It's costing the nation, it's costing the family, it's bankrupting people. When it's really simple. It's a simple way to take care of our body. So that's why I wanted to bring the doctor and Mr. Taylor and Kavanaugh. I want to talk about what we can do. And I think we had a caller just join us. And for those who are listening, you can call us at 310-928-7733, 310-928-7733, or you can email us here at InnerLight, INNER, InnerLightRadio.com. Go ahead, caller. Give us your name.
Hello, this is Dr. Ron. How are y'all?
How are you?
Hey, Dr. Ron.
Good. I'm just jumping in. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but that's
okay. Okay. You have a comment, or are you still listening and waiting to jump in?
Oh no, I literally just jumped on.
Okay.
And I'm liking what you're saying. And you know, you're talking about ancestors, right? Like how did the ancestors know to have this combination of things? Is there some divine intervention? And is there some science? And it's probably a little bit of both, right? And so I think the science behind it is that we know that a lot of these toxins, whether it's infectious toxins or chemical toxins, stuff like that, they actually affect our gut bacteria, and our gut bacteria talks to our brain every single day. It affects our neurotransmitters. And so there are things that our ancestors did that we don't do very well, and that's listen to our bodies. Right?
Yeah, that's true. And plus they believe what they believe in results, whereas we need a double-blind study and millions of dollars spent where good old trial and error is good enough for the ancestors.
Right, and then part of the reason we need this, proof for these double-blind studies is that these studies are designed to look at algorithmic outcomes and numbers, but we're a lot more than that. Human body is a lot more complex than that, right? And so, but there are some good studies out there that look at the whole, but they're not, what's considered to be well designed by the current scientific community, just because it's not double-blinded, just because it's not designed for a trial. But like I said, I think we all have to do just a better job, and myself included, of listening to our bodies and understanding that there are some things that we put into our bodies that can make or break us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just, one thing I do admire right now, there are doctors now who really looking at how nutrition really impacts the body and looking at how the emotional part of us impact our health. So I think we're in the right direction, and maybe now that we'll move to the right direction when it comes to how we need to deal with pain, especially since there's so many people now who are dying from the opioids. So finally, yes, I'm going to say it, just finally, that they're looking at something must be wrong. It must be a better way. So maybe they will embrace that, because there's too many people who have been changed, who have been feeling better because they are dealing with hemp oil, cannabis, and et cetera. So I think the medical world is about to embrace it, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
They don't have a choice, because the opioids are out of control, and they need something that's a lot less harmful and a lot more effective. And opioids are not opioids, but cannabis is a lot better and a lot safer than the stuff that the artificial stuff that they're putting out. So I think they're between a rock and a hard place. So they have to allow something that's safer and more healthy into the market. So I think, which is a good thing for cannabis.
Well, I think
there's a big political component to it as well, because, if you have something that cannabis, which traditionally in this country has been viewed as sort of a bad thing, and that is really the psychogenic component to it, correct? And the psychogenic component, or the THC component to it, the chemical that makes it a psychogenic component. But there's also 87 other cannabinoids that are CBD, which is a non-psychogenic component, very effective in pain modulation. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but there's a big political quandary about this, because yes, we're able to have very minimum THC or THC-free cannabidiols or CBD oil.
Yeah.
But why are we still hesitating? And we're still hesitating is because it's like tobacco. You have to figure out a way where the government is going to generate some sort of revenue from this.
Yeah, well, they can. As soon as they figure out how they can get their share, because right now I work hospice, and I know pharmaceutical has marijuana pills, and they're very expensive. Yeah. They give cancer patients right now. So as soon as they figure out how to get their share, like they figured out how to get their share from marijuana, then everybody will be doing this versus opioids.
Well, the thing is, the thing is really is because I've been looking at this for like the last year. The carfentanyls and the fentanyls, okay, a nickel's worth of fentanyl can kill you. Not even $1, but a nickel's worth of fentanyl can actually kill you. And there's no way to actually keep this stuff out of the country, because it's too lucrative as far as making money from it. So you're going to need something that's less harmful to actually give them an alternative. Otherwise, you're going to start losing a lot of people. You lost damn near 70,000 people last year just on opioids. So if you don't give them a safer alternative, they're going to turn to the cheapest, the rock hard cheapest stuff that can actually is a lot more harmful. So which is a good thing for marijuana and cannabis and stuff like that, because it kind of opens up a field. But the thing is, if it wasn't for the dangerousness of these artificial opioids, then it probably wouldn't happen. Well,
that's why I'm really happy to be speaking with Mr. Taylor and Kevin Subaru and dealing with Prime My Body. That's why I got excited when I heard, not just hearing about the company, because I had, heard about the CBD product, but when I heard their chemists, how they broke this down and how they really give you the physiological effect and this type of thing, that's when my ears just popped up. I said, too many people struggling when we can get this in the hand. So I wanted to make sure I got involved with them and brought this information to our community. And one lady said, you can't be talking about cannabis. You're a Christian. I say, I haven't had pain. I said, but I've seen people who have pain, and Christianity has nothing to do with it. I'm sure that if Jesus was here, I'm going to get put out to church Sunday, but I'm just saying, if Jesus was here, I don't think he would want us to suffer so. And I think he made, according to what I read, he's the maker of all things. Everything that's here was here before we got here. We came here butt naked. Everything was already here, and we found a way to do something with it. So we need to talk about this and don't discourage people for trying to find a better way out. So Kevin, Mr. Taylor, you had a comment?
Dr. Rosie, that was Dr. Ron. That was who was just on the call. He's dialing back in right now.
Okay.
That's he break down the oil, break down the detox. So he's calling back in right now.
Okay.
And you'll get to hear his family background. It's a very interesting what he's doing here in Houston, and the holistic approach that he's taking with his own practice is absolutely amazing.
Okay, well, I'll be waiting for him to get back on. And someone emailed something here. Are you back? You here?
How is legalization opened up your business to actually get more products out and get your message out more?
Well, I think the message is easy to deliver because there's such a need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to give you a little bit of my background, how I even came about this. So I'm in Texas, and my mother does Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and herbs, and my father is one of the deans of pharmacology at University of Houston Pharmacy School. He's an MD student, and so I really had both worlds growing up, and it was normal to me to get medical care. Normal medicine to me. I don't consider it alternative or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had that mindset, going into medical school. But I was born in China. I came to the U.S. when I was 7. But in China, I was living with my grandfather, who is a very, very, very famous physician. He was before he passed away. And I was on the second floor of the building, and he had his clinic on the first floor of the building. So I kind of grew up with coming downstairs, and the kitchen's on the first floor right next to the waiting room, eating, and then seeing this huge waiting room just of patients in the village coming to my grandfather. So that was always been my perspective growing up. When I first moved to Houston, I spent a lot of time in the Texas Medical Center, which is gigantic here. And so I grew up around a lot of different types of physicians, in every specialty, urology, cardiology, endocrinology, pediatrics, and everything like that. So that was kind of what I grew up with. And when I went to school, I noticed a couple things. There's not much nutrition taught. Number one. If it is, it's very, very simple, basic carbohydrate, fat, and what it can do for you. There's not talk about, manganese or magnesium, how important that is. And there's not talk about, vitamin B6 or B5 and how it affects the brain greatly, which is something I help, right? And so I try to discover that route throughout medical school. When I first went into residency, I did residency in New York. I saw all sorts of just really bad things, happen to a lot of people without really good preventive care medicine. And then when I, started private practice a few years ago, I saw even more because I was involved in the hospice community. I was involved in the intensive care unit. I did inpatient medicine. I did outpatient, medicine as well. And then seeing really just, I would see anybody from, getting enrolled regular sports physicals all the way up until, on their deathbed, in the span of one day. And it's very incredible to see how, everything is affected by everything. And I wanted to incorporate food and nutrition into it. So in 2015, I wanted to create a program to reverse diabetes. Because type 2 diabetes is 100% fully reversible. Actually doesn't even take very long. But it's not well known in the community as a reversible condition. And so I wanted to bring that out. So I created my own diet after failing on a lot of, and on, what the general consensus diet is from the American Diabetic Association, this and that. And so I made my own with my friend Mimi Chan. She's a registered dietitian, also from New York. And so we published it. We published the book. The book is called The Ultimate Guide for Type 2 Diabetes Reversal. You can actually find it on Amazon.
Okay.
And then we incorporated into it was a whole eating plan plus recipe guide. So from then, I got into functional medicine, which is basically the study of looking at systems-based root cause approaches to reverse chronic disease. And I opened my functional medicine clinic very recently, 10 months ago, here in Houston. And what we've been able to accomplish here has been absolutely astounding because our focus is to get people off of medicine. So people will come to a practice with a bunch of meds, and our goal is to, hey, how do we get off of each one and try to figure out the root cause behind it? And so with stuff like, antidepressants, pain medication and stuff like that, the role of hemp oil has been extremely, important. In fact, a lot of my patients say it's absolutely changed their lives. And those are people who have been depressed after wars or after traumatic brain injuries for 2 decades, and they're on these 6 different antidepressants. We're able to get them off within 4 or 5 months. Not just talking about supplements, but the whole dietary lifestyle, teaching them the meditation process, having them do exercises, yoga, and stuff like that, and really rebalance their lives. And that's more powerful than anything that I could ever put on a prescription pad. Right.
No, okay.
Well, let me ask you this question, Doctor. How is the medical community accepting the fact that you are using hemp?
So the professional medical community doesn't really know what to make of hemp right now because it's a very new concept. Just like they're not really familiar with what to do with magnesium bisglycinate versus magnesium citrate. One makes you poop, and the other one relaxes you. They're very different magnesiums, right? And so, but hemp is just like everything else. It's a dietary supplement. It's not FDA approved for any treatment of any conditions, and therefore, medical schools aren't going to teach it. And you're not going to see it in a lot of trainings and stuff like that. So they really don't know what to make of it. But they can't deny the fact that we have mutual patients, and their patients go back, and all of a sudden they're not on these medicines, and they feel great, and they don't need it, and they're no longer on narcotics. I mean, all they can do is be happy for the patient and be happy for what we're trying to do here. It increases the curiosity of what exactly we're doing here. None of this is voodoo. What we do is very evidence-based and scientific-based. So I think there is a really great embrace by the medical community of what I'm doing as well as other practitioners. In fact, there's a pediatrician that uses hemp oil a lot in the autism community with significant success in the north of Houston called the Woodlands over here. And we are very lucky to kind of share data, share our knowledge, and see what the outcomes are. And we're kind of at the forefront of this particular type of medicine. So I think,
most of the physicians who do recognize it, I think they only recognize it in one area when they're treating patients with cancer. And I know you talk about other chronic illness and chronic pain. Are you finding hemp oil effective for more? Will they begin to broaden that concept about how it can be used other than just with cancer?
I think we lost him for a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll try to remember that question. Doctor, let us know when you're back.
Okay.
We have on the board, Keith had said, I believe the sister you were referring to, who used to call the front page concerning hemp, was Sister Somali.
Samaya, yeah.
Yes. And he said during her, she was known as Peaches Moore. That's right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Joe Average Brother sent that in to us. Great. Doctor, are you back? Well, you know, Keith, what I always say when we're doing something good, y'all know the devil show is busy.
I'm just curious because there's a lot of radical health, not radical, but alternative health clinics in Houston. I'm just wondering why is Houston? Why do they seem to pop up in Houston rather than any place else? Because there's all kind of like the Hoxie Clinic. A lot of your alternative cancer clinics actually popped up in Houston back in the 80s and 90s. So it seems to be that Houston is like a hotbed for alternative medicine. So.
Okay, Doctor, are you back?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. I could hear y'all, but you can hear me. That's kind of
okay.
Sorry.
So I was talking about the use of hemp in relation in the medical community, because many of them, I know cancer patients, they are referring their patients. They say, well, get you some marijuana, do this, but they never mention in relation to any other pain or any other chronic disease. So can you talk about that?
Sure. And right now, as far as Texas goes, really the treatment is for seizure disorder. Currently, they're pushing for multiple sclerosis. Cancer, not so much in the state of Texas. In other states, there are. But a lot of things are changing very rapidly. But I really just want to focus on the non-psychogenic CBD oil, not necessarily the THC component to it. And the truth of the matter is, most people with chronic pain have some sort of inflammation. And they have a lot of people with chronic pain also have irritable bowel syndrome, whether it's constipation or diarrhea. And they're constipated and they're on pain medicines, which the side effect is severe constipation, then that makes their pain much worse. So the more pain medicine they're taking, their pain is much worse paradoxically. And in fact, their neurotransmitters get really, really tolerant to these particular pain medicines. You mentioned fentanyl earlier, right?
Yes.
And fentanyl, and you can have patches, and you can have baseline patches, and those medicines don't decrease over time. They have to increase over time to saturate your receptors. Yeah. And so, with stuff like something that can modulate the pain receptors, like CBD oil, like hemp oil, we're talking about something that's so powerful. It acts as a natural anti-inflammatory. It modulates pain. But more importantly, and most people don't talk about this, is that it changes the way that your genes function. I'm not talking about blue genes. I'm talking about your DNA.
Okay.
So it changes the way that your DNA functions. What I mean by that, there's a concept called epigenetics, where you are able to express or not express your genetic makeup, right?
Oh,
And hemp oil is able to do that, and it's able to increase detoxification pathway by something called a NRF2 pathway, NRF2. And the NRF2 pathway, and this should be a household discussion. And the NRF2 has properties that help prevent cancer from developing and prevent cancer from spreading. In fact, right now in pharmacological studies, they're looking at specific agents to affect the NRF2 upregulation. And guess what? Hemp oil does that very well. And so we're talking, I never like to label someone a disease. I like to label a system. For example, if someone is in America and they're diabetic, right, their disease is called metabolic syndrome. If someone is skinny and they're from Korea and they eat a lot of fish, then part of their diabetes is actually from mercury toxicity causing insulin resistance, not necessarily due to metabolic syndrome, right? But this is something that we really should talk about in the community, like what part of your system is not regulating well, and how are we able to decrease your toxic load? How are we able to detoxify you? Hemp oil is just one of the ways that we can potentially detoxify people so that their livers and their kidneys and their skin, they're able to detoxify themselves. So, but overall, in the pain community and the cancer community, cannabis has been shown to increase, appetite stimulation and modulate pain. And that's really with the whole hemp cannabis component. But even CBD oil goes really, really, really far. And there's tons of studies looking at this. There's really countless studies. And this is very, very big in the scientific community, those who choose to accept it. So.
Wow. Let's take a call, 310-200. Go ahead. So, doctor, just hold for a second. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Dr. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Caller, go ahead.
Caller. 310. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay. Let's take the other call, 310-200.
Yes.
Go ahead. You have a question?
You have a question or a comment?
Okay.
Guess not.
Okay, then. Okay, maybe they're just listening. I think somebody was trying to ask the question.
Well, I kind of have a comment.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, we're actually going to you. So, what's your comment or your question?
Great. I'm totally against natural remedies because the medicine field is really harming our bodies in putting all the toxins in it. And so I've been really studying because a lot of people, friends, as we get older, friends and family as we get older, they're coming down with cancer. And you're wondering, how can you naturally cure this as opposed to taking all these poisons that they put into our bodies that's supposed to help us? It doesn't help us. So I think hemp oil and cannabis is a good alternative along with alkaline water and eating healthy. The hemp oil, a lot of people don't know that the hemp oil contains your omega oils, which is what the omega-6 and 3 oils, and the benefits of it is it really helps reduce pain. It actually, if you're looking to look younger, you can use the hemp oil for your face to make your skin younger. There's so many different ways that you could really use the hemp oil. And also cannabis. I mean, it's not something that everybody needs to use all the time, but for people that really need to use it, I think it's really good. I think it's a natural remedy. And it's not proven that it works by FDA, but it is proven that it works when you look at the people that have been cured by using the natural remedies that God has provided for us. So I am one for using the different things if it can help you, and the side effects are lower. The only side effect that I have read up on hemp oil was, for your prostate, so you got to be careful of that. But other than that, I've heard that it was very good for pain, and it boosts your immunity with the omega-3 and the omega-6 fatty acids, and it also improves your immunity system. So I think it's definitely something that people should look at, evaluate, read up on it, and if it's something that they think can benefit them, they should use it, as opposed to the medicines that we know have so many side effects.
Okay, thank you very much. And leading to that, you talked about how the medication, what it's doing to people. I think I would like the doctor to really talk about body detoxification, because people are taking a lot of medicine. And maybe even if they had detoxification, I still believe that that's the basics to healing, is cleaning the body. At least that's what my grandmama told me. That's why she gave us castor oil every year, and it worked. We was healthy. So, doctor, can you talk a little about detoxification? Because people walk into my office sometime looking for herbal remedies, and they have a bag with about 15 different pills that they're taking. When I ask them, how much water do you drink? I don't drink water. I just enough to get the pills down. I'm looking at them. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a very loaded question. But I'm just going to address the last caller's issue with medicines and what it's doing to the body. So, there's no two medicines that are similar. Certainly, I use medicines that help people acutely, but of course try to get them off as soon as possible. especially if someone's coming into my office and the blood pressure's in the 200, they're having a headache. Well, we got to do something.
Right.
And so there's utility to medicine in the urgent and emergent cases. And there's utility to medicine in people who already have some sort of what I like to call end organ damage, meaning that they have kidney failure, they have heart failure. There are medicines they should be on that will definitely prolong their life. The damage has been done, and so those people should certainly be on it. And of course, I don't want anybody listening to this just stop their medicines. Definitely talk to your doctor about it. It's very dangerous to stop a lot of these medicines.
Yep. Exactly.
Specifically the blood pressure and diabetes ones, because it will land you in the hospital, and it's very high risk. And so, and those people with heart disease and they're on these blood thinners and everything like that is very, very necessary for these people, especially the year after they have a heart attack, because it's been shown time and again in multiple studies to prolong life. So there's a lot of good medicines out there, but there's a lot of medicines out there that do not necessarily prolong your life. And, pain medicines do not prolong your life. Mm-hmm. And so these things to help most of my patients get off these medicines, what we do here at my clinic is that we find out what the original toxin is, going back into their childhood, were they a colicky baby, were they C-section, were they vaginal birth, were they breastfed, were they giving a lot of antibiotics as a kid, did they have strep infections as a kid? These all can be risk factors or mediators, we like to call them in functional medicine. And some of them are triggers for a lot of chronic diseases like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or Hashimoto's thyroid disease, which is the most common thyroid disease in the nation. And so what we try to do is to figure out, hey, what is the toxin and how can we detoxify you from it? And that's not a very easy thing to do, and everybody's different. And so that's why I like to look at everybody in a systems-based approach. Say, what's going on? What is it about you that is not functioning the way that you would like it? And then we even go as far as looking at genetic studies. Do you have particular gene mutations that predispose you to not break down folate, from green leafy vegetables, or break down B12, which about 40% of the population has issues breaking down B12. And so we look at the genetic aspect, see how we can modify your genes by using food as medicine. And the foundation of everything is not supplements. The foundation of every disease reversal is dietary and decreasing toxic load. And so, we start everybody with some type of an elimination diet process where we reduce the foods that have been scientifically shown to be the most inflammatory and increase the foods that improve liver and kidney detoxification pathways, specifically the liver detoxification pathways. And those are foods like, Brussels sprouts or broccoli with a lot of these, we call them sulforaphanes, because the sulfur groups actually attach to these toxins, and you excrete it into the bile duct, and then you poop it out. It goes into your stool, you poop it out. And so, and that's the way that we want to maximize our efficiency in terms of using food as medicine and decreasing our toxic load. And so why is it that detox is such an important process now and it's not before? Is because, 50 years ago, we didn't have highways. We didn't have a lot of pollution that we have now.
That's true.
We don't have, we're right now. I'm in the Gulf Coast, so we have petroleum here, and the byproduct of petroleum is a lot of different compounds and arsenic. The arsenic in the soil around the Gulf of Mexico is astronomical. So even the organic food that's grown here, you want to be careful about the arsenic content. And so these are what we call heavy metal toxins, right? And mercury is another example of heavy metal toxins. I personally have fillings from when I was 7 years old, and these are silver and mercury fillings. And these are slowly releasing gases into our body. And so that's another source of toxin as well. And then there's something called, there's the newest thing that people are more aware of, and it's the hardest thing to treat, are mold toxins, okay? And so mold toxins, So, for example, my house was flooded in Hurricane Harvey. Okay, the chances of having mold in there was very high, so we had to remediate, and we moved in after 8 months, but it took us a while. And so, water damaged buildings, water damaged homes. There's a lot of mold, and these mold are exhibiting themselves as personality changes and memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. Okay. And so, in fact, a lot of people who are diagnosed with these Alzheimer's disease, Alzheimer's pathology, actually have a lot of mold exposure, and we try to detox them from that as well. And so, right now, the mold is becoming a bigger and bigger issue after all the tropical storms was going on and the flooding and Maryland and everything like that. It's because, and those people have basements which have a lot of mold, and we don't have basements in Houston because we're at sea level. And so it's becoming a huge issue. And guess what? These mold also predisposes you to other infections and colds, viruses, and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but this last winter was a really, really terrible flu season. And the areas with the highest flu deaths, children and adults alike, are in the areas that have been having water damage this last year. And that's not an accident. It's because these mold toxins are decreasing something called T helper 2 cells, or T lymphocytes. Basically, it's part of the immune system, and its activity where it's not able to combat against viruses and other fungal spores. Okay. And so these have to be detoxed in the body as well. So you see now we're getting into necessity. But unfortunately, this is not talked about in the medical community because no one really treats mold. There's no mold, quote unquote, mold specialist that is of official training because it's a very systems-based biology that we have to improve for people, and not just, here's an anti-mold medicine, take it, you'll be okay in 7 days. It doesn't work like that. In fact, it's a very many month-long process. It includes the elimination diet and decreasing stuff that has mold grown on, usually like pistachios, for example, has mold. A lot of the roasted almonds have mold on it. It's decreasing your toxic burden that's really on this. And in addition, mold inhibits or actually binds to a receptor in the brain called GABA. GABA calms you down. That's why people like to take Xanax, right? It calms them down. And it binds to this GABA. So people start getting ADHD symptoms. Kids started getting ADHD, attention deficit, and they have severe anxiety and depression, and people start having hormonal problems. So detox, is very important because you want to be able to handle everything that's associated with modern day. Our bodies were not evolved to deal with this. Right, everything that we're exposed to our body, yeah.
Let me just have you pause for one moment. I just need to give an announcement here. We're inviting all the listeners out there to a free Prime My Body seminar this Friday, June 1st at 6:30 p.m. at Class 1 Books and Herbs. That's 1425 West Manchester in L.A. It's just west of Normandy in the shopping center next door to Burger King. And the seating is limited. Life comes one per person, and we need to live with optimal health. So come and gain the correct knowledge that you need about cannabis, hemp, and detoxification. And that's why I asked the doctor about detoxification and how often you think a person need to detox, and how often, and at what age should they start?
So I do think that for the detoxification process is really person dependent. Mm-hmm. How often someone is able to detox is going to be dependent on, one, how affected they are, how sick they are, and two, can they, is detoxing something that is they're just doing just to do it, or is there a specific goal, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that when we want to eat a certain way and do the particular detox, we have a specific goal. So if you're just wanting to be healthy, which a lot of listeners are, they just want to be healthy, make sure that they're doing okay, and they want to detox. Once a quarter is just fine, and it's not specifically for a disease or for a disease state. It's just that that's what I would like to do to make sure my liver enzymes are binding to the toxin well, able to eliminate into the bile and everything like that. Now, if it's somebody that has been very ill, has taken a lot of antibiotics, a lot of Tylenol, which, by the way, Tylenol decreases your detox pathways. And it's the most abused pain medicine in America. It's not your opiates, it's Tylenol, actually. And if someone is on, having a lot of chronic pain, then they should certainly do it more often, but only if it benefits them. A lot of people, when they go through particular detoxes, they can actually get worse before they become better. And that's part of, drawing the toxins into the bloodstream. And so these people can still need a detox, but do it at a very much slower rate and kind of work up to it as well. And so the rate of detoxification is different for everybody. In my practice, of course, we look at people's genetics, we look at people's inflammatory factors, we do a liver ultrasound to make sure they can even detox through the bile duct here, and that's specific for what we do. It's certainly not part of what conventional medicine is. But that just goes to show to you that everybody has detox pathways that can be upregulated, but everybody's different. So.
Okay. We have something on the board. Keith, you want to read it?
It said, okay, what if it is the intention to lose more people and reduce population? That's from Dr. J. That was a while back.
Read the second one, to be honest.
I don't see it.
Okay, it said, to be honest, Houston surrounding area should have been what he had declared uninhabitable after Hurricane Harvey. Far too many toxic chemicals were released into the air from many of the damaged oil refineries and other support system plant. I will never visit Houston, Texas again. What city has the largest medical center in the world?
Yeah, it's Houston, actually.
Yeah, so, after the Hurricane Harvey, a lot of things happened. There was a lot of things that were spilled into the soil, but it's also a safety concern because personally, I evacuated, but I wasn't able to get back home. And my parents were back at home, and they flooded too. And so I couldn't even get into Houston, and people were because they were trying to get people out. So I think a lot of it was a safety issue of the transportation. So even though I hung out with first responders trying to get into my city, no highways were open, and the Red Cross was there, and everybody was kind of on lockdown. No one allowed in; people only allowed out. And so there was a big safety concern in terms of just the sheer amount of population. It's pretty dense. Here's a pretty dense area, and you're right. There's a lot of chemicals that were spilled. And in fact, those people who came in contact with the water around Hurricane Harvey are the most toxic people that are in my practice right now. And we're able to see that in their cardiac risk factors and ultrasounds and everything like that. But not only that, one of my least favorite things that happened is that they decided to spray mosquito pesticides 2 days after the flood into the air in my neighborhood, which I'm not a fan of because those particular pesticides also detox my liver detox pathways, me, my daughters, my wife, and my parents, and everybody. And so I wasn't too fond of that. But instances like those, that's why we do these particular detoxes. Now, do these detoxes prevent these toxic things from affecting our body? No, it does not, but definitely decreases the toxic burden for sure.
Right. That's why we're doing this seminar this Friday at 1425 Prime My Body, West Manchester. The number you can call to reserve is 323-750-3592. 323-750-3592. The engineers telling us if you guys could stay with us, we could go over 15 minutes because there might be some questions. I don't know if the doctor can stay on any longer, so he would need to tell me. But we're really concerned about the community. And here we have a lot of issues here in California. I don't know if you all have as many issues back there with cannabis and with hemp. A lot of people don't know the difference. So let's just talk about, again, when you're talking about cannabis and you're talking about CBD, for those who don't know anything about it, can you just kind of break that down a little bit for us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very common confusion, I think, throughout the world, really not just here. So hemp is a category of plants, and cannabis is a type of hemp. And cannabis is a more specific type that we're associated with a psychogenic component, everything like that. Now, within cannabis, you have different components of chemical makeups. You have CBD, which is the cannabidiol, and then you have THC. And even within that, you have a whole category of other things in there. And what we found that, if you isolate these particular chemicals, they're not that effective, but if you actually use the whole plant, it's far more effective, which is true in pretty much all herbal medicine. That's part of, my family's background is herbal medicine. So it's not a surprising thing. So when I say CBD, I'm talking about the non-psychogenic component of the cannabis plant that's extracted, which, by the way, it's legal. It's not there's nothing to frown upon that. Now, it's just pure cannabis or marijuana in general is the whole plant. And of course, there's different ways of delivery, right? There is ingestion or eating, and then there's smoking, right? And there's also topical too. And so, whenever I talk about these particular components, I am talking about the ingested kind. I am not talking about the smoked kind. In fact, the smoked kind are not shown to be very anti-inflammatory. In fact, in a lot of people with different genetics who can't detox from THC, they actually have a worse outcome in terms of detoxification. So I am talking about ingested cannabidiols with non-psychogenic components. Basically, it's the stuff that doesn't get you high is the stuff that I'm really talking about. And you mentioned the Prime My Body meeting this Friday. I wish I can go because they have some really good stuff. And what they focus on is the hemp oil component to it. That is the non-psychogenic component to it.
Well, they say with their product they've taken the sin out of it.
They're taking the sin out of it. Okay.
and
what JP would say. Yeah.
Hi, I'm jumping on the line. My name is Bonita Money. I am the founder of Indica, which is NDICA, which is the National Diversity and Inclusion Cannabis Alliance. So I just jumped on the call, so I missed most of this. Who's the doctor?
Hi, this is Dr. Cheng. How are you?
Doctor who?
Dr. Cheng.
Ron.
Cheng. Hi, Dr. Cheng. Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, so is there a meetup coming up this week, or is that what's going on?
Repeat it, Dr. Rosie.
Yes, that's at 14 Prime My Body meeting. That's this Friday, June 1st at 1425 West Manchester Avenue, 90047. The phone number is 323-750-3592, and that's at 6:30. That's 323-750-3592.
Okay, and what are you guys going to be discussing?
We're going to be talking about hemp, cannabis, and detoxification.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. I'd definitely like to participate.
We'd love to see you.
Absolutely. And you can go to our website, which is indica.org.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you a lot.
Great. We'll definitely see you there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, doctor, go ahead.
Is he still there?
Doctor
Ron, are you still there?
Yeah, he had till 1 o'clock. He had to break at 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
1 o'clock here, 11 o'clock over there with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay, we can get him. In fact, we're getting back on to talk about reversing diabetes because I'm telling you that's a big problem too.
Especially in Black America. Yeah, that's one of the main problems. Yeah.
Right. So, Kevin, did you, John, have some other comments? Because we're excited about the meeting for Friday because we really are trying to get people healed here because people are getting sick. They allow them in HMO plans. They can't get certain authorization to see the doctor. They're like on waiting list, waiting for somebody to authorize whether they can see a specialist or not. It's a mess out here. Well, maybe all over, but dealing with medicine, that's why we're trying to teach people to heal yourself or else. It's very important that we take charge of our life.
Yeah, Dr. Rosie, Dr. Ron mentioned something, and we'll dig a little bit deeper on Friday. But he said that, a detox is good for you, but it can also be bad for you because once you start flushing things out, if you don't get it out of the body, it's going to make you worse before it makes you better.
Okay.
That is the main thing behind the design of the Prime My Body detoxification product is to make sure to minimize or completely eliminate that possibility. So I'm definitely going to dig into that on Friday and break down how it works and why it works. And I think it's going to be very beneficial information for people.
Mm-hmm. No, they normally call it a healing crisis, right? When you start to detox the body, you don't get all the radicals or whether the bad stuff out. It actually causes you to be sicker, initially sicker. They used to call it a healing crisis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and with all this medication that people are taking, and most people are not drinking enough water, and these medicines have a lot of side effects, you're making you constipated, you're not eating where you should be eating in the first place, so you're just really sitting there poisoning the body over and over and wonder why you can't get well. And then you go back because you're not feeling well, only to have someone to add a new medication on top of what you're already taking.
Right. You keep doing the same thing, thinking you're going to get different results, and you have to change the things that you're doing to get the different results.
Well, I'm excited about learning a new way. It's a new day, and I tell you, you have to find ways to heal yourself. And you have to, when you're hearing people with all these testimonies, I've heard people talk about who was having epilepsy after doing hemp or how they had minimized it. It's just so many great reports that's coming out, and it's been all good. And I know we hear a lot about medicine, and I mean, the number of people die every year from medication, side effects and overdose and whatever. So it's time to look at, don't be afraid to try something new. I haven't had anyone to tell me any side effects they've had from hemp. And whoever's on the phone that's talking, you need to mute. Don't they're going to have to drop you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead. Keith, you had a comment?
No, I didn't have a comment.
Yeah, we're excited about the meeting on Friday. You can call 323-750-3592. I suggest everyone take a personal interest in your family. Their health. You're around your family, they're looking sick, they're looking unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
When do we start just calling people out on the carpet? At least just addressing, letting them know that they is the old folks say, baby, you're looking kind of puny. Y'all ever heard that word? That's family. We got to talk to family. They may be taking medicine that's blowing them up, and it could be retaining water for some reason. We just need to be family. Family need to be family again, where you can really talk to each other. And if a person you see all of a sudden gaining too much weight, maybe they don't know how to get it off or don't know what's causing them to gain the weight. It could be a medication. People sometimes they're losing their hair and they don't know what's going on. It could be that they're anemic. It could be medication. We just need to talk and point them to the right source because people are not feeling good. When you're not feeling good about yourself, that impacts your psychic, your emotional self. And that would then itself tend to throw your body out of balance and not make you feel, in homeostasis.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
Well, Dr. Rosie, I need to jump off, and I apologize, but I set it our side as well. But I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys on Friday and sharing some information and, hopefully making people understand that the culture that John Taylor talked about on the front end of this call, what you put in you and what you put on you matters. So I definitely appreciate you asking us on and to spread some information. And I look forward to doing some more of that on Friday.
Sure, I'll see you on Friday.
Do you want to leave us with some contact information?
Okay.
It can all go through Dr. Rosie. That'll be just fine.
All right.
Okay,
yes, sir. Thank you.
323-750-3592. Invite your friends, invite your family. Let's just work on ourselves and our family. If everyone would make a commit to themselves that I want my family to be well. I want my children to be well. And then when you get your household feeling better, get them on products and seeing results, then we're able to impact the community. So I think that's one thing we need to focus on this year because being sick, Keith, I can't tell you the money that is costing people for medication, days off work, family issues, all because someone is not feeling well. You cannot be at your best when you're not feeling well. That's real, folks. So let's jump on and take care of our family. Get to this seminar. It's absolutely free. Learn all you can, and you really need to understand it so you can talk to your children so they can understand. And we really need more understanding about this thing called cannabis and hemp. We need to look at the myth, and we need to look at the facts, because you have family members who would love this product because they're in chronic pain, but they got family members who condemning them, telling them they're going to hell. You don't believe in God. This is the devil stuff. I'm serious, Keith. People are doing that because they are not the one in pain.
We don't say that to the doctor when he gives us stuff that we don't even know about. You know, we can't even pronounce the name of it. So.
I fully agree with that.
So the doctor can shove any kind of pills down our gut, and we never even consider that it might be harmful, but something that is natural because let's put it out there, the white man told us that it was bad, so we think it's bad.
Right. And we don't say anything when they say it may cause death when you're taking those pills.
No. Even though it's probably right there on the warning label.
Well, you know, long as it's been approved and it's been researched, you know. But anyway, you all come out Friday. We have a great program for you. We want to educate you. You know, the more you know, the better off it is. Take your health in your own hand. So this show is going to air again tonight at 6:00. Let me see. I think that's 6:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining us. Walk away with some information, and all you didn't get, Google, go in and do some research. But you know what? Be in the know. Tawana, welcome back. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Hope you can come Friday. I know it's a long way.